Welcome viewers to KP's Lit Chart, your own YouTube channel. This is our second video, the second part of the age of Renaissance. Ladies and gentlemen, Renaissance literature was marked by fullness of national spirit. The element of nationalism rose to the great heights, and people began to realize, especially after the defeat of Spanish Armada, they began to realize their worth, and a national spirit was generated, for which people got united, and there developed a kind of unbridled passion for knowledge. They wanted to seek knowledge from different sources, and there was also another feature which was noticeable, you might be knowing, the feature of the spirit of adventure. So it was found that the people living in England during the period of Renaissance, there was not only an upsurge of nationalism, there was also the evolution of the unity, and there was also the unbridled passion, the growing passion for knowledge, and they also showed great spirit of adventure in their daily life. And there was also noticed another feature, that was the ambition to achieve big things in life, to achieve greatness in life, and they left no stone unturned to achieve that height. They realized that they should have their own individual accomplishments despite all challenges, all odds that they face in society. Renaissance, no doubt, aroused optimism among the people, because 15th century was a dark age, a gloomy age, and there was no literary production, and during that period people were getting monotonous, feeling monotonous, they were getting totally bored with life. There was no novelty, there was no romance, there was no literature, there was no art, there was no social harmony, so they got shattered totally. But it is the spirit of Renaissance which revived their spirit, not only revived their knowledge, revived their new kind of awareness, it revived their enthusiasm for the pursuit of knowledge also. There was a great optimism, and it raised hopes to use the inherent potential of human beings. They realized that they are not useless, they are not worthless, they have some spark in themselves, they have their inherent potential in themselves. So they wanted to explore and capitalize on their own potential, for which they took all efforts. Hopes, ambitions, excitement were thrown into the whirlpool of pessimism and cynicism very soon. The initial optimism turned into pessimism when they entered into the vagaries of life. Life is very uncertain, life is full of challenges, life is full of uncertainties. You never know at what time what will happen. So that is why Shakespeare wrote in the play Macbeth, out, out, brief candle, life is but a walking shadow. It struts and frets on the stage and then is heard no more. It is a poor player. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. So that kind of feeling was aroused among the people, and they became increasingly cynical, pessimistic about the future of their life. As a result, they wanted to explore some new avenues, how to add meaning to their life, how to make their life useful, how to make their life worthwhile, and how to serve the society in a meaningful manner. Shakespeare also chimed the note of disillusionment in his play Macbeth through this dialogue, life is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. The contemporary social, cultural and religious system stood as a deterrent for the flourish of human potential. The system was such. There are so many social taboos, social compulsions which stood in the way of the flourish and growth of human potential, human talent. This was realized by the people living in the age of Renaissance. Shakespeare, in another play, which is a very famous play, you might be knowing King Lear, there he made another dialogue, he wrote another dialogue. This is a very memorable dialogue. The dialogue runs like this: the usurer hangs the cozener, through battered clothes small vices do appear, robes and furred gowns hide all. So Shakespeare exposed the darker side of human life. That human life is not only a bed of roses. Human life is not full of enthusiasm, excitement, thrill, adventure. It is also full of challenges, full of uncertainties, full of failures. So, the multifaceted intellectual activities of the Renaissance were reflected in literature of 16th and 17th century. The multifaceted intellectual activities were reflected. For example, you have Mallory, the prose writer, who has written the famous Morte d'Arthur. Another writer, Erasmus, who wrote Praise of Folly. There is another writer, a very noted writer, renowned writer, Sir Thomas More, who wrote Utopia. These writers, they heralded the dawn of Renaissance. The dawn of Renaissance was heralded by Erasmus, Mallory, and Thomas More. These three writers sang in praise of Renaissance and harnessed their pains to drive away views, the vices, ignorance, and the superstitions that are afflicting the human beings in the society. In a way, Thomas More's Utopia is considered to be the true prologue to the Renaissance. So Thomas More's Utopia served as the prologue, the introduction to the Renaissance. In the 16th century, the prose writings of Bacon are the true specimens of materialistic and Machiavellian facets of Renaissance. So the materialistic and Machiavellian aspects of Renaissance were highlighted, focused in Bacon's essays of Francis Bacon. Bacon had the charisma to connect with the readers. His language was lucid, his language was simple, his language was sarcastic. He wanted to impress upon the people the main points he wanted to focus in such a manner, in such a unique fashion, in such an amazing way that created an imprint in the minds of the people, and he exposed the follies and foibles, the weaknesses and the shortcomings of the people in society. His writings are the specimens of that wisdom which arises out of universal insight into the affairs of the world. So he had a kind of universal insight into the affairs of the world. Whatever affairs of the world, the social activities, the social happenings are taking place in the world, all those things were focused, dealt with by Francis Bacon in detail in his essays. So his essays, you may say, are the finest expressions of the practical wisdom acquired from his deep study through research on society and human character, human behavior, human idiosyncrasy. Then comes the poetry. Apart from prose, poetry also flourished during the Renaissance, during the period of Renaissance. Poetry was given a very new dimension by people like Sir Thomas Watt, Henry Howard, the Earl of Surrey. Their works were compiled in Tuttle's Miscellany. Watt and Surrey, they compiled their works in Tuttle's Miscellany, which is recognized as one of the landmarks of English literature. They gave poetry a new sense of grace, harmony, and dignity by writing sonnets, getting the inspiration from Petrarch. Sonnet is a poem written with 14 lines. It comprises 14 lines. and Petrarch divided his sonnet into two parts. You all know it, octave and sestet. Octave comprises 8 lines, sestet comprises 6 lines. But Earl of Surrey and Thomas Watt, they wrote sonnets by taking the cue from Petrarch, and this was definitely a new dimension which was opened by these two persons, Sir Thomas Watt and Earl of Surrey, Henry Howard, the Earl of Surrey. Then comes your Edmund Spenser, most renowned poet of the Elizabethan age, who made a very significant contribution, remarkable contribution to enrich poetry. What did he do? He wrote Fairy Queen. There is another poet, Sir Philip Sidney, Ben Jonson, who also made remarkable contributions. So poetry was enriched by Sir Philip Sidney and Edmund Spenser, Thomas Watt, Earl of Surrey or Henry Howard, and then comes drama. You know what I mean to say is that during the period of Renaissance, all the genres of literature like prose, poetry and drama, they reached the pinnacle of glory, pinnacle of growth, which was unimaginable and which was, very surprising. People couldn't believe that the English literature or England, which was not having a single production after Chaucer and Langland in 14th century, 1 century entirely passed off without a single literary production. And look at the 16th century, during the golden rule of Queen Elizabeth I, so many things are achieved. People were taken by surprise. Say for example, Mallory, say for example, Erasmus, say for example, your Thomas Moore, they wrote prose. Edmund Spenser and Philip Sidney, Sir Thomas Watt, Earl of Surrey, Henry Howard, they wrote poetry, invented sonnet. The genre of sonnet was invented by them. Then came the growth of drama. So in every field, in every genre, literature reached great heights during the period of Renaissance. That is why it is called the golden age of English literature. And the university wits, they played a very paramount role. The role can never be described through words. It is simply amazing, surprising. People could not believe in the wildest of their dreams that the university professors who are working in the universities in the daytime, they are writing such wonderful plays at night. Who are they? You know them. Thomas Kidd, George Peele, Robert Greene, John Lilly, Thomas Nase, Christopher Marlowe. Thomas Kidd's The Spanish Tragedy created a sensation. It created ripples at literary parlance. And Christopher Marlowe, he has written wonderful plays like Tamburlaine, Jew of Malta, Edward II and Dr. Faustus. All the 4 plays became great success. So after they wrote the plays, the readers were very much satisfied. The British readers, I have told you in my earlier video, how the Britishers, they may be a nation of shopkeepers, they may be commercial people, businessmen, they may believe in trade and commerce, they may indulge in business and materialistic activities. Alongside that, they have a great sense of aestheticism. They had great aesthetic sense. They loved literature, they loved art, they loved sculpture. So they wanted to get these plays staged, and they made a request to these university wits to make arrangements for staging these plays, because a drama can only be enjoyed when it is staged. A novel can be enjoyed by reading, but a drama by reading you can't get the same charm as you enjoy the drama on the stage. So during that time there was no theatre hall. Globe Theatre was not there. In England there was not a single theatre hall. So what they used to do, they made improvised arrangement, impromptu arrangement. they arranged street plays. Say for example, on the streets they put a screen, and to symbolize the forest they put some twigs, some branches of the trees. To symbolize a bedroom they put a cot. To symbolize a drawing room they put a few chairs. So like that they began to stage the plays on the streets on open air pandal. And those plays, there was a huge success. Audience in large number, they thronged the street theatre open pandals, and people were very happy. And it gave a new lease of life to them. Their boredom was removed, their monotony was removed. They got new energy. They conserved their energy to work with more vigor, more vitality, more potential. It inspired them all. It was a motivating factor for them, and they began to watch it. During that time, ladies and gentlemen, a great poet, most renowned poet in world literature, William Shakespeare's name comes into picture. William Shakespeare was born on 23rd April 1564 at Stratford-on-Avon, and his father was a leather merchant. He was from a lower middle class family. In those times, grammar school was the most renowned school, popular school. He was put in the grammar school. In those times, in grammar school, two subjects were being taught. One is Latin, the other is mathematics. He was somehow doing well in Latin, but he did very badly in mathematics, which forced him to get dropped from the school. He became a dropout. He left the school. After leaving the school, he came back to his village, and in the village he came across a few mischievous boys, urchins, and together, all the mischievous boys, they stole deer. And on the charge of deer poaching, he was imprisoned, put behind the bars. Look, William Shakespeare, can anyone believe he had spent a few months in the jail? So after he was released from jail, he went to London. He didn't have that much of education, he didn't have educational qualification. So he was moving around in the streets of London, and he suddenly found the street plays are being staged. So he started hovering around there like an orbitless planet. And the ladies and gentlemen, they used to come on horseback on those days. There was no Audi car or Mercedes car, BMW car. They used to come on horseback. So horse has to be tied up somewhere, or somebody has to hold the horse. They asked Shakespeare, will you hold the horse? Yes, I don't mind. I will pay you something. Whatever you pay, that will be enough for me. Then he started holding the horse. So he did two things at a time. He held the horse, earned money, and watched the street play. While he was watching the street play and holding the horse, the director of the open air pandal caught notice of Shakespeare. Shakespeare was a very handsome boy. He called him. He said, listen boy, would you like to act in the drama? He said, yes, I am interested. Now, but on one condition, you will not be given a male role, you will be given a female role. Yes, I agree. Whatever role you give, I am prepared to do it. So he was given a female role, and he started doing female roles in the plays of university which staged on street theatres, open air pandals. After that, he learnt the technique of writing drama. Can you believe what kind of intelligence he had had, what kind of potential he had had, that he could capitalize on it and utilize his brain, how the plot of a drama is constructed, how the characters are drawn out, how the dialogues are written, how the atmosphere is taken into account, and as a result, it became a great success. He started writing plays, and he wrote 37 plays. So that was the kind of opening for Shakespeare into the domain of literature, into the hallowed portals of English literature, and gradually he became very famous. So today, with this, let us stop it here, and we will have a part 3 of Renassa we will proceed in our next class. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Before you leave, please share, subscribe and like the video, and you can give your comments, which will be a kind of motivation for me to take into account your views, your suggestions, your inputs, and we can have better works, better videos in the future. Thank you very much.